What's going on, guys? So today I'm gonna bring you along for this journey. It's been interesting thus far, that's for sure. So I've been digging around and looking in the hopes that I could find a small pickup truck that I could buy pretty cheap and maybe fix a couple of things and use it for my handyman stuff and haul trash off and just a general truck to have around the house. Well, I ran across this Dodge Dakota here. It was listed on Facebook Marketplace and they had cut the price on it a couple of times, and I was interested because one, it's a quad cab, so it's 4-door, got plenty of room inside. It's the short 5.5 foot bed, and it's 4-wheel drive, and it's a V8. That'll allow me to pull our big trailer and stuff as far as that goes. So I took a look at the truck, and the reason they were selling it is because the brackets for the upper control arm here, and I'll get you a close-up on that, they are rusted out, and it's actually gotten into the frame too. Now, I've seen this fixed before. This seems to be a common problem on these trucks, especially if they've been anywhere in the salt, up north, anything like that. I don't know exactly where this truck come from. I didn't run no Carfaxes or nothing like that on it. I just, I went and looked at it. Price was right. If I had to spend a little bit of time on it and fix it, that's fine, no problem. So I got the truck home and got it in here in the shop, got it raised up, and realized it might be a little bit more than what I thought it would. But I'm going to bring you along on this journey while we fix this thing, because I'm sure there's other trucks out there that are like this and they can be fixed. So let me get this camera up here closer. And I'm going to get you in here where you can see. Alright, so as you can see right here, the control arm bracket is pretty much separated from the frame. It is shot, gone, done, over with. There's no fixing that. There's no welding it back together, nothing like that. So what I ended up doing is figured that I could go to the junkyard and find me a Dodge Dakota with a frame that I could cut the front section out of or buy the frame of. Well, long story short, I actually run across one. Alright, so here it is. Now this one's upside down. I got it just chunked off here in the shop. I had to go pull this, and you want to talk about a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Luckily I was able to cut it off, but the truck was wrecked in the side and the back end, so the front frame horns weren't hurt. But you can see, looking at this one, it's in really good shape. The bolts and stuff are not ate up, no rust. The frame itself is in good shape. It's not rusted out or anything like that. So that gives me my donor pieces to put in here. It's going to need ball joints, tie rod ends, things of that nature. The truck's got 150,000 miles on it. That's about normal, par for the course. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tear this side down, get all the suspension components and stuff out of the way, and once I get in here to the actual frame section, I'm going to walk you through how I'm going to go about fixing this. Alright guys, so I got this in. It's tore apart. All this is loose now. You can see we got some pretty bad cancer right in here in the bump stop mount. It's eat through the frame there. We come over here, this side's completely separated. It hadn't quite eat through the frame, but I'm sure it's pretty much destroyed. And then this down here is pretty much shot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that frame over there that I've got, and I'm gonna get in here first, and I want to get a measurement from right here at this point on this bracket right here all the way up to the front of the frame up here, front edge of the frame. So I'm gonna pull a tape measure in there, and I'm gonna hook it right here in the front of the frame, and I'm gonna pull this back, and that's 27 inches exact to the point. So that gives me my reference mark as far as where I want my piece to go back in. That's 27 inches right there. So what I'm thinking is if I come in here and I cut this out right here, and then cut it over here, right down the side of that, then what I can do is I can go to that other frame and I can cut it right here. I can cut it down the side, I can bring it back over here, set it in, and weld it in solid all the way around. And what I'll do is I'll cut down through here, and then I'll have to cut under to get this bracket piece in here and get it all reshaped and formed. So we basically just got to rebuild all this. And it looks like I probably will have to take the lower control arm out on this side. The other side didn't look as bad, so I don't think I'll have to, but it looks like it's a possibility over here. But I'm gonna get everything set up, get everything marked, get the plasma cutter out, and we'll start cutting. So what I ended up doing is I measured from right here. This is my reference point right here. This is still intact, good solid piece of metal right there. I measured from there 8 inches over. So now when I go cut my donor frame, I can measure from here over to 8 inches and cut my line, and I'll have an exact cut for a piece to go in here. I may have to do a little work on it, a little shaping, whatever, but that's basically it. This side over here and the top's gonna be easy to cut. All this over here, this is gonna be a nightmare, but we're gonna get it. Alright, now it goes without mention, when you do this, battery disconnected, fire extinguisher close by, everything's set and ready. So basically I've got that side cut. Now I need to cut across the top. I gotta cut this bracket off the top up here so we can replace it later. And then I gotta cut along the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those out. Alright guys, I'm back. So I took the plasma cutter, cut this whole thing out. I had to cut this bracket off from here, and what you'll see here is I cut my piece off of my donor frame. Now I had to cut this off, and I'm gonna have to weld all this back together because I need to get in here to weld this to the frame rail right here. If I didn't have to do that, then it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but the only other alternative I had was to cut this whole bracket off and replace this whole section of this frame, and I didn't want to go through all that because it doesn't need it. The only thing that really needed to be replaced was the lower section of this bump stop and the upper control arm motor. So what I've done is I've set and shaped and worked with it until I finally got it where it'll set in here and line up. Now the key to this is two things. One is to make sure that the top of your frame lines up right here at the top. And it's level across the top of your frame. Alright, the other thing is to make sure it's flush across here, and I'm trying to hold it in place with one hand. It's a little awkward to get in there. But the main thing of it is to make sure it's flush here, 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 and here, and then make sure that it's level up at the top. Once you get all that done, you can then measure from the front of the frame back to that center point right there for 27 inches. And I know mine's at 27 inches because I've done measured it and confirmed that it's there. So now what we need to do is get this thing cleaned up, clean up the frame edge good, and get this ready to weld in. We've got to weld this in solid. Then we'll have to weld this piece back on the bottom and weld the two ears on the bottom of it that attach down here that's part of the support for the lower control arm. But once we get it put back together, we'll have everything rebuilt to where our suspension will hold up. Alright guys, so let me start this off by saying this. Number one, I am not a metal fabricator. I am not a welder. I don't claim to be a metal fabricator, and I don't claim to be a welder. I know enough to fix things around here at the farm and things of that nature. And this is my personal vehicle. I would not do this on somebody else's vehicle. But I'm going to do it on this one because I'm going to drive it, and we'll use four-wheel drive and probably take it off-road, so I'm sure we'll end up breaking something. But that being said, there you go. It's in. It is welded in. It is welded solid. The bump stop bracket, everything's back on. And I've got the tape measure right here. Disconnect this screw. I'm going to pull this tape measure back. And right there, we are dead on that point at 27 inches. So that is exactly where that piece needs to be. Now, it's not any higher, it's not any lower, because we cut the frame out. We cut this piece to fit in there to set this at 27 inches. We were flush at the top, the sides, all the way around, so that piece just sat right into the frame existing. So now, if we put our upper control arm in there, which granted this is the used one that I got with the frame. It's actually in better shape than the one that was in the truck. So we put that in there, and I can just start the nuts on it. See, it's in there. And you got adjustment. There's a lot of camber caster adjustment to that. So that in and of itself should give us enough room to make all of our adjustments once we get ready to do an alignment. I don't have an alignment machine. I've done them before, but I'll probably take it to one of our local tire shops and just get them to set the camber and caster, set the toe, and send me out the door, because that's basically all I'll need. The only thing I've got left now is to get the ball joints out of the lower control arms, which I have a feeling are not going to be very friendly. I could be wrong, but I don't know. We'll see. This one, the boot's busted on it, so it needs to be replaced. The upper ball joints are easy. It's basically just the 3 bolts that bolt them in. I've got inner tie rod ends and outer tie rod ends coming, just because if I'm going to put the pieces in it and have it lined up, let's just go ahead and do it all at one time. We'll put all the pieces in. That way we've got all new steering, new ball joints, everything's put in place, and we are good to go. So guys, stick with me. We'll be putting the ball joints and stuff in once they come in. We've got to put the upper control arm bushings in, and I'll video as much of that as I can. I didn't video me welding because the last time I did that I destroyed a camera, and I'm not going to do that again. And plus, on top of that, I'm not that great of a welder, so I don't really want to put that on film. Guys, listen, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Stick with us. We're going to be coming to you with more videos, especially on this Dakota. I'm going to be doing a review on the plasma cutter that I bought. 50 amp plasma cutter for $190. That was delivered to the door, and it cut this frame like butter. I was thoroughly impressed. I could not believe how good it cut, so I'm definitely going to be coming to you with a tool review on that one. Alright guys, like I said, thanks for tuning in. Stick with us. We'll be coming to you with more videos on the Dakota and tools. And as always, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, drop comments, questions down below, and stick with us. We'll be coming to you with more.